Did you have a good pee, Steve?
I did.
Good. Let me start this list again. Zach Hyman, James Van Riemsdyk.
No, I got to get here. I'll be right back.
Jake Gardner, Leo Komarov, Tyson Berry, Cody Ceci, Thomas McClanitz, Brian Boyle, Ron Hainsey, Roman Polak, Tyler Ennis, Kyle Clifford, Zach Bogosian, likely, Dave Rittich, likely, Riley Nash, likely, Ben Hutton, likely, Nick Foligno, likely. Those are all people that will leave the Leafs in free agency. Now, I realize some of those people are trade deadline acquisitions, but let me just do this list to you.
Asterisk on Polak. They did trade him, and then they brought him back.
Right. With the acquisitions of Foligno, Boyle, Plekanec, Rittich, Hutton, Clifford, and Nash, the Leafs
please don't. I don't want to know.
The Leafs spent 1 first-rounder, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth.
No seventh. Eat shit.
That is an entire draft class full of picks that I'm quoting directly from this article, and I'm going to cite it in a second, plus some extra picks. The average number of games those players played for the Leafs.
Oh, no.
Can you guess?
16.
The average number of games that the players Foligno, Boyle, Plekanec, Rittich, Hutton, Clifford, and Nash played for the Leafs.
Wait, do playoff games count?
I think so.
17.
The average is 13.
Oh, my God!
Oh, I was going to guess 20.
and you know what gives me pause? Boyle played 33.
That's what I'm talking now.
Plus playoffs.
So it's a little bit. But here's what I want to say to you. I made a point last podcast that I thought it was ridiculous that the Leafs held on to own rentals. This is their branding rename of a player that's on an expiring contract. Call it what it is. It's a player on an expiring contract that you're probably not going to be able to afford to give back. Anthony Petrelli knocks this fucking article out of the park because he says everything that I could not say because he's smarter than I am. And this is from Maple Leaf Hot Stove. This is the article you need to read. Why the Maple Leafs cannot afford to play out the 21-22 season with an unsigned Morgan Rielly on the roster. Rasmus Ristolainen is worth a first-round pick. If the Leafs are not going to re-sign Morgan Rielly, then they must trade him this offseason. There cannot be this bullshit line about, he's an own rental. Oh, well, he brings more than, we could get. Fine. But the reality is, by not trading those players, and I realize that they were going into playoffs and the optics were terrible. The reality is they didn't do the cold, hard calculus, which is we could have got a fortune for these guys. And I know they tried to trade JVR the season before he was, he scored a bunch of goals or whatever. They tried to trade him for Travis Hamonic, and forget what happened with that deal. That deal almost happened. But the reality is you don't let it get to the season. Bozak should have been traded a season before. Hyman should have been traded a season before. Gardner was never going to come back. Van Riemsdyk was almost traded, but wasn't. Tyson Berry, you knew the team sucked. You knew you weren't going to do anything with this team. You could have flipped Tyson Berry for anything, and you did nothing. Cody Ceci, okay, fine. Mulligan on that. He didn't play great here. And then, Ron Hainsey, I don't know. You're not going to get much for... you didn't need to spend on Kyle Clifford. You didn't need to spend on, they needed a centerman, so they spent a second on Plekanec.
That's a Lou move, by the way. So this is across GMs.
It's a Lou move, but it's a Shanahan administration move. And what it has done, and Anthony really puts this in an incredible HD in writing on MapleLeafHotStoves.com. 4K, 8K, 32K.
Whoa.
What he has done is he's shown that by not moving those players, especially the guys at the
VR.
top.
I just want to add in VR.
VR.
With the two hands.
Very real. That's what that means.
The two hands in front of you in VR. That's like your hands are doing the weird thing. Anyway,
Morgan Rielly
is it's left them without options. They have no forward depth. Now you're saying, well, they've got $40 million wrapped up in 4 guys, and you're right. What about after that? And somebody tweeted me today. They're like, hey, why is everybody against Alex Kerfoot playing on the top 2 lines? Nobody's against that. The problem is, what do you do with the third line? You need to spread these guys out because they don't have a choice. They have $9 million and they need a 1A or a 1B goalie. They need a defenseman and they need 2 left wingers who can play top 6. They're not even sure about Robertson.
Kerfoot, I've seen enough where I could see him being top 6 left wing, but you have to get a third line center then.
Right.
You have no choice.
Bingo. So this year more than ever, the Leafs have to rely on the stars that let them down in the playoffs. And John Tavares, who should not be lumped into that category, who's played great since he got here. Let's be honest. Guy's been a point-a-game player.
Yeah, like...
I don't understand the hate for John Tavares. It's ridiculous.
Well, I do. Well, not from Leafs fans. I understand it from Islanders fans. Because today I was like...
I get. Yeah.
I was like, the Islanders are going to win the Cup, aren't they? Because almost every free agent, Frege, had the Islanders in there. And they were a goal away, 2 goals away, I guess, from going to the Stanley Cup final this year. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh my... And they did all of that without Anders Lee, by the way, which is an underrated storyline about their whole run. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to win the Cup. But John Tavares, since coming to the Leafs, has done everything asked of him. Absolutely everything asked of him. Oh God.
Yeah, and I like John Tavares. I think he's been a great player for the Leafs.
Like, you talk about someone who in their choke last year, someone who is completely blameless, like one of the few.
Well, he didn't play.
He didn't bloody play. Exactly. Well, look, they choked. What the fuck? He was in the press box. He got hurts. What
is it? What was the quote, Steve? I'm allergic to
it was Dean McCammond, and someone asked if he was prone to concussions, and his witty response was, no, I'm prone to traumatic blows to the head.
Which is, I mean, that you can't really get around that.
He got Superman body checked by Steve Downey, something that I think he was suspended 20 games for. But is it the issue, Dean? We have to ask.
Have we considered that it could be the victim's fault?
Yeah, like holy shit. So, I gotta find that clip.
So I just want, this is what Anthony's article is, everything I wanted to say last episode. And it's why I've been so on the figure out the Morgan Rielly thing. And I don't think you re-sign Morgan Rielly because it's going to cost you more. He gets into comparables, and we talk about like what it could be. Torrey Krug making $6.5 million, right? Morgan Rielly can't make more than that. Cannot. And even then, it's not about, is Morgan Rielly worth 6 or 6.5? Is he worth that to the Leafs based on what he brings? Or do you go out and buy the $8 million Dougie Hamilton type defenseman who can do much more for you? And that's not to take away from what Morgan Rielly has done, or the person that Morgan Rielly is, or the leader that Morgan Rielly is. There's nothing, but the reality is there is limits to this player's game. And at a certain point, the other thing that was brought up, and I love this one, and Steve and Jesse put this in the group, and I mentioned this, this whole thing about the Leafs management doubling down and saying, we believe in our guys, and they're mad.
Oh, this is horrible. Sorry. I know we've been negative, but this is just cold hard facts.
I said this last episode too. And the Maple Leafs hot stove, God bless them, they came up when they found the quotes. Kyle Dubas in an interview from the Draft War Room. Everybody is going to roll their eyes when they hear this, but it's been different this year in terms of our players' reaction to the playoff exit.
Great.
And then Anthony Petrelli, August 13th, 2020. Different. This is after they got shit canned by the fucking Columbus Blue Jackets. Different than the past years, as this team has sort of been coming together. I sense that the players are extremely angry at themselves. We're angry at ourselves. We have higher expectations. These guys really want to win. And this is the difference.
That was Brendan Shanahan.
I want a Ferrari. Everybody wants to win. How are you going to win? How am I going to buy a Ferrari? Well, I have to do a bunch of things, work really hard, probably get really lucky.
You said something there, man. Can the Leafs afford Morgan Rielly at $6 or $6.5 million? What did you mean by that?
What I meant by that is they have a lot of money wrapped up in very few amount of players. And based on what Morgan Rielly brings and what the team needs, I can't imagine that he is.
And this is why, like, people go like, oh God, let it go. I can't let something that is tied to absolutely every conversation about this team and every decision that is made go. I can't. How? Oh, I'm just supposed to ignore the biggest factor in every decision they make? I can't, guys. I can't. It's the biggest factor in every decision they make. And, I'm on board, right? Either re-sign him or trade him, Right? You can't lose him for nothing. I'm on board.
I can't say that they can't re-sign him. They can't. And remain the same? How do you get better?
Their defense wasn't the problem. Their defense was fine. Dude, Matthews scores one more goal. Marner scores any goals. They win. They literally win the series.
But they didn't.
but they didn't.
And let's be honest.
It comes back to them.
Guys, let's just call it what it is too. The Leafs lineup next year is not going to be as good as the Leafs lineup this year was.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Well, we can be pretty confident, but
we don't know that. We don't know what their lineup is next year.
I don't know. My house might get struck by lightning. You're right. We don't know anything. Steven Stamkos might come right up to my house and punch it. We don't know.
But with the difference between the lightning thing, which the example doesn't make sense, is that we'll have an answer on their lineup
he knows where I live.
We'll have an answer on the lineup for next year at a certain date when the lineup is announced.
We will. And what I'm saying to you is everything the Leafs are saying is we're going bargain bin shopping. We got $9 million to spend. We might trade Kerfoot so we can find a third center with a lower cap hit. And this is going to be what it is. And that, you know why it's going to be what it is? You know why they have to believe in these guys? Because they have to believe in these guys.
Yeah, they don't have a choice.
They don't have a choice anymore.
Incorrect. You can trade them.
Oh.
Well, Travis Yost put out an article today, I think is just trolling Leaf fans, but, where he could see a scenario where, a Marner for Dahlin or something like that in Buffalo. I mean,
that'd be hilarious.
It'd be hilarious. I don't know how that, I haven't read the article yet. So Travis, pretty smart guy. I'd like to read it. I do think it's going to be trolling Leaf fans. They're not going to do it. Right. Even if that trade was available, they would say no. So I think at the end of the day, and I'm going to repeat this question, and in a couple weeks, we'll know. But I really don't know how this team gets better. I don't know how this team gets better. I don't know how they hack it in the playoffs. I just don't know. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong here.
The conversation.
5 years? Guys, if every year I let you down for 5 straight years, would you not think, well, year 6, things are going to be different this year?
Well, we're 8 years in and, we're proof that you can stick it out. So, no, but like, look at like the conversation. And I have said these things. Jake Muzzin doesn't get hurt against Columbus. I think they beat them. I think the Leafs beat them. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Muzzin doesn't get hurt against Montreal. They might win game 6. Might win game 7. I don't know. Tavares plays the whole series. It's no shot. I do think the Leafs win.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to... Myrtle put it in a way that I hadn't been able to put into words when he came on the show. They are more susceptible to this type of scenario with their current salary structure. Because when one of the big players goes down, it's over. It's over. Now, it wasn't over for a while when Tavares went down. But Muzzin, we're talking about Justin Hall. Oh, irreplaceable at that number. Justin Hall, literally irreplaceable at any number because they don't have a replacement for him. I think you can put Timothy Liljegren into Justin Hall's slot in the lineup, and he can do a lot of the things that Justin Hall can do. There's no one who can do what Muzzin can do. You know what I mean? I don't think, I talked about how Sandin could potentially replace Rielly. Yeah, potentially. But then who replaces Sandin's slot? The options stink. Where did the depth go? It's gone. And like, can I just talk about how this management group is nothing as advertised at all? Like I thought, like, the eggheads, the smartest guys in the room, shouldn't everyone be bargain bin? Shouldn't? How do you have 3 guys on these deals? How do you? Like I really did think, oh man, they're gonna go to like a tier 3 German game, and they're gonna find a guy and they're gonna sign him to league min and he's gonna score 50 goals on defense. Like I really did allow myself to believe these things. And here's Igor Ozhiganov, and here's Ilya Mikheyev, who's been fine, and here's Dennis Mulligan.
Who got qualified today? He got qualified.
Oh, good for him. And here's, I don't know.
Can I just say this was supposed to be a quick conversation, and now we've just exhausted the Leafs talk again.
Yeah, but I went pee, so like I had the time
to think.
Yeah.
The reality is the idea of own rentals needs to go away. Stop calling it that. It doesn't make you better. It makes you the same. And if you continue with the salary structure, you are very, very vulnerable. Very vulnerable. If you don't have depth in your lineup, they isolate your best players and they shut them down like Montreal did.